Kanye West has never been afraid to speak his mind. Since the beginning of his career, his controversial statements have put him at odds with the media, other celebrities, and even major corporations. However, at a certain point, his words began to carry a different tone, a tone of warning. He started mentioning events and behaviors that, according to him, proved that something much bigger and darker was happening behind the scenes of the entertainment industry. His statements became increasingly concerning until, suddenly, he was silenced. But what exactly did Kanye West see that made him change his stance so drastically? Welcome to another night where mysteries never sleep. I am Midnight, and this is 7 Nights. Before we begin, I'd like to ask for your help. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's just one click, but it makes a huge difference in helping YouTube deliver the videos to more people and allowing me to keep bringing this content to you. I'm counting on you. Let's get into the video. Kanye West has always been known for his strong personality and controversial opinions, but something changed in recent years. His words went from merely provocative speeches to cryptic statements, suggesting that he knew something he wasn't supposed to know. Gradually, he began hinting that Hollywood hid a dark side, a world of secrets that few dared to reveal. At first, many thought it was just another one of his eccentricities. But as his words became more direct, the situation changed drastically. Let's be honest, right? Everyone was already used to Kanye's craziness. But this time, the conversation was different. The turning point happened in 2016 during a concert in Sacramento. In the middle of the performance, Kanye stopped the music and began to speak. He made insinuations about Jay-Z and Beyoncé, implying that they were part of something much bigger. His words were not direct accusations, but they carried a tone of warning, as if he were trying to expose something without explicitly saying it. The audience was confused, not fully understanding what was happening. A few minutes later, he abruptly left the stage, ending the show unexpectedly. The backlash was immediate. In the following days, Kanye West was taken to a psychiatric hospital against his will. Official reports stated that he was suffering from a psychological breakdown and needed treatment. But to many, the sequence of events seemed suspicious. How could someone be institutionalized so quickly just for making a controversial speech? And more importantly, why did this happen right after he suggested he knew something compromising? When Kanye reappeared publicly after his hospitalization, something seemed different. His expression was distant, his speech was more measured, and his demeanor no longer resembled the energetic and self-confident artist he once was. He even mentioned that he had been medicated, and that things had never been the same after that experience. Was it just necessary treatment, or was it a form of control? In the following years, Kanye began making even more alarming statements. He started talking about how the industry treated its artists, insinuating that many were manipulated and silenced when they tried to break free from the control of major corporations. He also mentioned that there was a system within Hollywood that determined who rose and who fell, and that those who tried to escape faced severe consequences. Among his most unsettling remarks, Kanye suggested that the concept of sacrifices within the industry was not just a metaphor. In an interview, he claimed that important figures lost loved ones under suspicious circumstances. And at that moment, he mentioned the name of his own mother, Donda West. He said she had been a sacrifice, but did not provide further details on what that meant. His words left many questions in the air. Was he speaking metaphorically, or was he suggesting something much deeper? Kanye also began questioning the behavior of certain celebrities. He pointed out that some stars seemed to act strangely, as if they were not entirely in control of themselves. He insinuated that many of them underwent processes involving mind control and manipulation, which would explain some of the sudden behavioral changes seen in the entertainment world. These statements led Kanye to start losing major contracts and partnerships. Companies that once supported him began to distance themselves, and the media started portraying him as unstable, someone who should not be taken seriously. The question is, were these losses a natural consequence of his controversial remarks, or was there a deliberate effort to discredit him? Over time, his social media accounts became closely monitored. Whenever he posted about these topics, his accounts were suspended or restricted. Interviews where he discussed these matters were quickly taken down or edited to remove the most sensitive parts. Was he being censored for getting too close to the truth? What makes all of this even stranger is that Kanye is not the first artist to speak about these dark behind-the-scenes dealings and then face repercussions. Michael Jackson, Prince, and Dave Chappelle also made similar statements before encountering difficulties in the industry. Some were discredited, others disappeared for a while, and in more extreme cases, some never returned. If Kanye is really telling the truth, this means there is a powerful structure within the entertainment industry that controls what can and cannot be said. But if he is wrong, why do his words cause such a strong reaction? Why would his voice need to be silenced if it were just another baseless theory? With each new statement, Kanye seems to delve deeper into this mystery. He keeps speaking out, even knowing it could cost him everything. But the big question is, how far is he willing to go to reveal what he knows? Throughout the history of entertainment, some celebrities have dared to question what happens behind the scenes of the industry. Kanye West is neither the first nor the only one to raise suspicions about an alleged system of control. Before him, artists like Michael Jackson, Prince, and Dave Chappelle made alarming statements about hidden forces operating within the industry. And curiously, many of them faced severe consequences shortly afterward. Michael Jackson, for example, repeatedly mentioned that powerful people were trying to destroy him. In one of his most cryptic interviews, he said that the industry didn't care about artists, only about manipulating their images. Shortly before his death, he even stated that he felt he was being pursued. Michael Jackson was talking about this way back then, and everyone thought it was paranoia. And now, does it still seem so absurd? Prince also left behind clues. He spoke openly about the control exerted by major record labels and how contracts trapped artists in abusive systems. In some interviews, he mentioned that certain figures in the industry had influence over more than just music. Shortly before his death, Prince suggested that there were energies that drained those who tried to escape this scheme. Another curious case is that of Dave Chappelle. At the peak of his career, he turned down a multi-million-dollar contract and disappeared. When he returned years later, he explained that he felt Hollywood had a way of breaking people who didn't follow its rules. He even questioned why so many artists experienced mental breakdowns or were institutionalized after challenging the system. The similarity between these stories and Kanye West's trajectory raises a disturbing pattern. All of these artists reached a point where they started talking too much, and shortly after, they were marginalized or discredited. The question is this just a coincidence, or is there something worth investigating? Among Kanye's most impactful statements, one of the most striking was when he claimed that sacrifices were common in the industry. During an interview, he mentioned the death of his mother, Kanye West, suggesting that her loss was part of something bigger. He didn't give many details, but his words were enough to fuel speculation. Donda passed away in 2007 due to complications from cosmetic surgery. Officially, her death was considered an accident, but Kanye has always shown discomfort in accepting this explanation. On several occasions, he mentioned that his rise to the top came at a high price. What did he really mean by that? The idea that certain celebrities experience tragic losses as part of a dark process within the industry is not new. Many believe it's just a metaphor for the challenges of fame, while others see a much more literal and disturbing meaning. What is undeniable is that these stories follow a pattern, and Kanye is aware of it. Besides Kanye, other artists have hinted at similar things. The rapper DMX, for example, repeatedly declared that hidden forces were trying to bring him down when he began questioning certain aspects of the industry. He died suddenly, and many wonder if his suspicions were justified. The connection between Kanye and these other artists creates a pattern that cannot be ignored. Those who start talking about these topics often face immediate backlash, canceled contracts, censorship, and drastic changes in how they are portrayed by the media. Is Kanye's case just another example of this dynamic? The rapper knows he is stepping into dangerous territory. He has already seen what happened to those who tried to warn the world before him. Yet, he continues to insist on his statements. What drives him to keep going, even knowing the possible consequences? If there is a system operating behind the scenes, as Kanye suggests, his exposure could represent a real risk to him. But if it's all just speculation, why do his words cause such a strong reaction? Why does simply talking about these topics lead public figures to be discredited? With each new statement, Kanye seems to delve deeper into this mystery. He is aware of what happened to those who came before him, and yet he does not back down. Does he still have more truths to reveal? Whatever the answer may be, one thing is certain: Kanye West does not intend to remain silent. But how long will he be able to keep speaking? When Kanye West began speaking about the entertainment industry's inner workings, it didn't take long for him to face severe consequences. In a short time, he lost multi-million-dollar contracts, strategic partnerships, and was cut off from major corporations. Companies that once celebrated him quickly discarded him. But why did his statements provoke such extreme reactions? The media has always portrayed Kanye as an eccentric artist, someone who speaks without a filter. But to a certain extent, that was tolerated. When his speeches shifted from mere controversies to direct accusations against the entertainment elite, the response was immediate. Brands like Adidas, Balenciaga, and Gap terminated their contracts with him almost simultaneously. His talent agency, the powerful CAA, also severed ties. The question is, what exactly did he say that led to such a rapid fallout? CAA is one of the biggest in the world. If even they cut Kanye off, he must have poked at something big. It wasn't just the loss of contracts that stood out. His social media accounts began to be closely monitored. Whenever he posted something about the industry's secrets, his posts were deleted or his profile was suspended. This pattern repeated itself multiple times, raising questions about censorship. If Kanye's words had no foundation, why such concern in silencing him? The narrative about him also changed drastically. Before, Kanye was seen as a creative genius, someone who revolutionized music and fashion. Suddenly, he was portrayed as unstable and out of control. This is nothing new. Several public figures who challenged major corporations have gone through similar discrediting processes. Other artists who have touched on these subjects have also seen their careers compromised. Actors, musicians, and comedians who questioned how the industry operates were often labeled as problematic and saw their opportunities disappear. Could this be a strategy to ensure that certain truths never reach the public? Among Kanye's most alarming claims, one stood out. He stated that some elite figures had directly threatened him. According to him, powerful people were interested in ensuring that he didn't speak too much. During an interview, he revealed that one of his former personal trainers, Harley Pasternak, sent messages suggesting that he could be institutionalized again and sedated until he couldn't say anything coherent anymore. If these threats are real, it means there is an active effort to keep Kanye under control. But if they aren't, why does he keep insisting on this narrative even though it only damages his career? The pattern of silencing in the entertainment industry is something Kanye has mentioned multiple times. He claims that those who speak too much go through a sequence of punishments. First, they are discredited. Then, they lose contracts. If they persist, they face complete isolation. The next step could be even worse. The big question is, if all of this is just a baseless theory, why does simply raising these issues cause so many doors to close? Despite everything, he continues to speak. And with each new statement, more questions arise. If he truly knows something he shouldn't, what will be the next move against him? Among all of Kanye West's statements, few have been as disturbing as his claims about sacrifices in the entertainment industry. Unlike the idea of giving up personal life or facing challenges for success, he suggested that certain tragic events were not mere coincidences. This is a heavy topic. We're not talking about hard work, we're talking about sacrifices, in the darkest sense possible. The most impactful moment came when Kanye mentioned his own mother, Kanye West. During an interview, he stated that she was a sacrifice, but did not provide many details on what that meant. His words left an unsettling question. Was he referring to a symbolic process of fame, or was he insinuating something much deeper? Donda passed away in 2007 due to complications from cosmetic surgery. Officially, the cause of death was cardiac arrest, but Kanye never seemed fully convinced by this explanation. On multiple occasions, he has stated that the entertainment industry demands a heavy price from those who reach the top, and that he himself paid that price with the loss of his mother. This theory did not originate with Kanye alone. Over the years, several tragedies involving celebrities have raised suspicions about a pattern. Many stars who reached extreme levels of fame lost loved ones under unusual circumstances. Michael Jordan, for example, lost his father in a tragic way. Dr. Dre faced a similar loss. Kanye even cited these cases as examples of what he called the sacrifice system within the industry. Some people believe that these statements are merely metaphors for the emotional and psychological cost of success. But if that were the case, why does Kanye insist so strongly that there is more to it? The media and major corporations reacted immediately. After making these claims, Kanye faced even greater isolation. His interviews began to be edited to remove specific segments, and many of his statements were labeled as conspiracy theories, without deeper analysis. If his words were nothing more than baseless delusions, why would the industry react so strongly? Why do companies and media outlets work so hard to silence this topic? Another curious point is that Kanye is not the only artist to suggest something like this. Rapper DMX, before his death, also claimed that there was a system that demanded sacrifices, and that he himself was being targeted for questioning too much. Shortly after, he passed away unexpectedly, reinforcing doubts about these connections. For many, these coincidences are just that, isolated tragedies that are part of life. But for Kanye, these events follow a pattern. According to him, entertainment is not just about talent and success. There are forces working behind the scenes, deciding who rises and who falls. What makes this theory even more intriguing is the fact that, after Kanye started talking about it, his life was turned upside down. He lost contracts, was censored, and was treated as someone who should no longer be taken seriously. But if his words carried no weight, why the need to discredit him? Kanye claims that his experiences have given him access to information the public is unaware of. He does not reveal everything outright, perhaps out of fear of the consequences, but he constantly drops hints about what really happens in the industry. The big question is, does Kanye still have more truths to reveal, or has he already said everything he could? If he truly knows something the elite want to keep hidden, how far are they willing to go to stop him? Kanye West not only exposed the secrets of the industry, but also suggested that some celebrities were not in full control of their own minds. He spoke about a system that manipulates behaviors, silences those who try to escape, and uses methods to ensure certain voices are discredited. His statements sound exaggerated to many, but the patterns he points out are hard to ignore. One of the most well-known examples of this alleged manipulation is the case of Britney Spears. For years, the singer was under a conservatorship that prevented her from making basic decisions about her own life. Many believed her erratic behavior was just a consequence of the stress of fame, but over time, it became clear that something bigger was at play. Cryptic messages posted by Britney on her social media suggested that she was trying to alert the public about her situation, but whenever she spoke too much, she was labeled as unstable. Dave Chappelle also raised similar concerns. At the height of his career, the comedian turned down a multi-million-dollar contract and disappeared from the public eye. When he returned, he claimed that Hollywood had methods to break those who refused to follow certain rules. He questioned why so many celebrities suffered mental breakdowns or were institutionalized after challenging the system. Kanye himself went through a similar experience. In 2016, after a controversial speech during a concert, he was taken against his will for a psychiatric evaluation. He claims he was kept sedated and that when he came out, he felt different. From that moment on, his statements took on a more cautious tone, as if he were trying to find a way to express himself without crossing certain boundaries. One curious detail is that Kanye mentioned the name of his former personal trainer, Harley Pasternak, as one of the people who tried to control him. According to Kanye, Pasternak sent him threatening messages, warning that he could be institutionalized again and medicated until he could no longer say anything coherent. If these claims are true, it would indicate that some celebrities are being controlled not just through media influence, but also through psychological and chemical methods. This could explain why some stars exhibit drastic behavioral changes at specific moments. Kanye also mentioned the use of medication as a tool of control within the industry. He suggested that many artists are forced to take substances that alter their behavior and keep them submissive. This pattern has been mentioned by other celebrities, including rapper DMX, who stated that people tried to put him on medication to make him stop questioning certain things. Another intriguing case is that of Amanda Bynes. The actress, who suffered a public breakdown and was institutionalized, claimed that she was being medicated against her will and that she wanted to break free from the system. Like Britney and Kanye, her attempts to speak out were quickly silenced. If we analyze the patterns, there seems to be a script that repeats itself. First, the celebrity reaches a high level of influence. Then they start questioning certain aspects of the industry. Soon after, they face consequences ranging from cancellations to psychiatric institutionalization. Is this just a coincidence? If Kanye is right, this would mean that Hollywood not only controls careers but also minds. It would suggest that artists who try to break free from this system are not just excluded, they are psychologically dismantled until they lose all credibility. The question remains, if all of this is just an unfounded theory, why do these stories keep emerging? Why does every artist who speaks on these topics see their life start to fall apart? Kanye has already stated that he knows things he can never fully reveal. But if he truly has more information, how long will he be able to hold on to it? And if he decides to expose everything, what will happen to him? If there's one thing Kanye West has made clear over the years, it's that he's not afraid to speak. Even after losing multi-million-dollar contracts, being isolated from the industry, and having his reputation destroyed, he continues to make statements that unsettle the entertainment elites. But how far could this take him? History shows that public figures who challenge powerful systems often meet a predictable fate. They are silenced, discredited, or simply disappear from the radar. Kanye knows this. He has even stated that if something happens to him, the public should remember his words and question the circumstances. But does this mean he is facing a real risk? We already know how this story ends, right? Either they discredit you or you disappear. In recent years, he has become an increasingly solitary figure. People who were once by his side, including friends, business partners, and even family members, have started to distance themselves. Some say it's due to his erratic behavior. Others believe he is being deliberately isolated so that his words lose their power. After all, who would listen to someone discredited even by their own circles? What stands out is that Kanye seems aware that he is playing a dangerous game. He has mentioned multiple times that he needs to be careful with what he says, and that there are people watching his every move. But if he truly knows something that could expose deep industry secrets, why hasn't he revealed everything at once? One possibility is that he is waiting for the right moment. Kanye is not naive. He understands how the media works and knows that for his message to be taken seriously, it must be released at the exact right time. Perhaps he is gathering information, collecting evidence, or seeking allies before making his final move. But how much time does he have before something prevents him from doing so? Another possibility is that he has already said everything he could, and what we are witnessing now is simply the result of his attempt to escape this system. If that is the case, then what is happening to Kanye now is a clear example of what happens to those who try to challenge the power structure of the entertainment industry. The most unsettling question is, if he continues pushing this narrative, what will be the next move against him? History has shown that when a celebrity becomes a real problem for certain forces, more drastic measures can be taken. But if something happens to Kanye, will people be attentive enough to connect the dots? The fact is, regardless of what happens next, Kanye West has already planted the seed of doubt. He has exposed a side of the industry that many preferred to ignore. And even if they try to erase him, discredit him, or silence him, his words have already been spoken. And if history has taught us anything, it's that once certain truths are released into the world, it's impossible to make them disappear completely. Now the question remains, does Kanye still have more secrets to reveal, or are we already witnessing the final chapters of this story? Kanye West has become more than just a controversial artist. He has come to represent something bigger, an enigma within the entertainment industry. His statements, as controversial as they may be, raise questions that cannot simply be ignored. Why do so many artists who try to speak about Hollywood's inner workings end up discredited, silenced, or, in some cases, facing even darker fates? If Kanye truly knows something that the elite don't want the public to discover, the question is not just what he still has to reveal, but how much longer he will have the opportunity to do so. Whatever is happening, one thing is certain. This story is far from over. This story is just one piece, and one day, maybe you'll see the whole puzzle. If this made you think, subscribe, like the video. It helps the channel grow. Don't forget to share, because more voices mean more discoveries.